its own design. GE and Westinghouse devices, for example, were not interoperable that way. But they fast found that that was really a market limitation. It was not a market enabler. It didn't give them the control of the market. It gave them control of a very small market. And it was much better to create a much larger market through a commonality that would allow truly plug-and-play interconnectivity at the end-use device level. That's what we have to, the logic that we need to apply at the whole grid level today if we're going to incorporate renewable energy and other advanced technologies effectively. Comprehensive storage capabilities. I personally believe that distributed generation is going to ultimately play a bigger role in renewable energy than centralized, but that of course is an opinion. I may be proven wrong about that, but certainly today our ability to match the needs of intermittency at the distributed level with the storage capabilities and technologies we have today is much better. And we need dynamic pricing and not only net metering, but the ability to basically operate in the marketplace. I just have installed a whole solar system for my home out in the country, and I want to be able to sell that power. I want to get the price signals in real time, and when I want to be able to sell the power back to the grid. Not only for my own purposes or to offset peak power, but be able to actually sell power back to the grid. That is not happening yet, but totally will. So unlocking the grid benefits is going to require the intelligent technology, which by and large we have today, intelligent policy, which we certainly do not have. Our policies trace back to the New Deal days of the 1930s, when the idea was let's get the country electrified as quickly as possible, and let's make sure we build big and building monopolies to do that was the right thing to do at the time, because the idea was dump as much energy as quick as you can at my doorstep. That is not the business model in the modern day. We need total integration of the system, which will optimize supply and demand, make maximum use of resources, and optimize the ability of the consumer to act as a partner, not a prisoner. Literally, we are held behind an iron curtain. This is as tyrannical a business as we can imagine. And in today's world, with the technology we have today, that is not an acceptable proposition. So we were there in the morning discussion, we were talking about a Declaration of Independence, the Consumer Bill of Rights. That is what we want to promote and achieve. And this, in my judgment, will be in the best interest of the utility industry. This is not intended to be anti-utility. It is to create a future for utilities that is sustainable. Because if we don't have a sustainable future for this country, there will be no sustainable future for utilities or anyone else. And they are playing an important part. And the power industry is so fundamentally critical. It is the foundation on which every sustainable aspect of our future, economy, environment, and energy depend. And so we must create that foundation. And those of us who are involved in that business must take the lead to make it happen. And I use the word intelligence here because I don't want to, smart of course is the common term, but I don't want a smart aleck power system. I want an intelligent system, and intelligence is a very clear definition. The ability to understand and deal successfully with new situations. And that's exactly what we want the grid to do, particularly with renewable energy, because the new situation is instantaneous. Sun changes, the wind changes instantaneously. The system has to be adapt and be able to absorb and maintain, manage that. That is the ultimate in intelligence. So renewable energy and the implementation of it is not only a requirement of intelligence, it will be a key measure of intelligence. Constraints to transformation here, lack of consumer knowledge, very obsolete cost-benefit accounting rules. In other words, again, the cost-benefit is how much reward me for how much electricity I sell, not for the quality of the service I provide. Only look at the power system through the electricity bill, not through its fundamental role in creating jobs, creating productivity, and enabling this country to succeed in a globally competitive marketplace that we have created, but which we are putting ourselves at a very serious disadvantage with our current electricity infrastructure. Utility and regulatory resistance, bad people at all. Many of them I think are still my friends. But they are empowered to maintain the status quo. So it takes us, others of us who are not trapped in that world, to be able to rise above it and open the door for them to succeed effectively in the future, as well as the whole country. And most importantly, new entrant barriers, the ability for the entrepreneurial innovators who are going to bring forward this technology in all dimensions to really succeed, who will bring forth ideas that are well beyond my imagination and really open the door to create the future. So I believe these constraints will be overcome, fortunately, and I trust I'm not overly optimistic here, because of the pressures on carbon control, the pressures on cost that are going to grow dramatically when the economy comes back, and the inability for utilities in general to keep pace in terms of building new capacity. So consumer and buildings are going to have to become important sources of energy, not just users of energy, because the rate cases that will be required in the absence of that will be, I think, politically unacceptable. And we've seen that in several areas of the country already. So I think that the leadership that San Diego Gas and Electric is showing among the investor-owned utilities in much of this, because they have some of these incentives, is going to play out in a much broader way. And service quality pressures. Again, we have a system today that is not at all aligned with the needs of a digital economy and society. It's fine for turning lights on and off, but that you get much beyond anything that's non-analog. It doesn't do it. It's, to me, the maximum irony that electricity, which is the foundation of the digital revolution, is literally the last industry to transform itself from electromechanical to digital control. So thank you very much, and I look forward to a very stimulating discussion.